Hey guys, I'm trying this again. This is like the, I don't know, fifth time I've tried to film this video, but I think it's important. And I have Elsa trying to play fetch with me at the same time. I'll try to do a quick one on my phone, and well, my phone died, so yeah, killed my phone. And I'm house sitting right now, and I can't find my charger. So I'm gonna have to go back to my house in a little bit. But anyway, I was on Facebook this morning on one of the service dog groups. I won't name it or do the post or anything like that. And a lot of the groups you can't share information outside of it, outside of the group, and I'm not slamming anyone or anything, so don't worry about it. But I've seen this question before, and luckily my brain this morning was working, which is kind of rare for me because I am not a morning person. So I answered a question, and I'm like, you know what? I really should make like a quick video on this. And this is kind of just one of my walking talking videos. Of course, I'm not walking though. I'm just kind of hanging out behind this tree at the house I'm house sitting at. Not in my normal neighborhood right now. But it's largely unedited video if you're not familiar with my channel. Just kind of a discussion video, right? And yeah, I just think this should be a video that I should have on my channel because I've seen this question a ton. And the question is, should I, or my trainer does, want me to start using training tools, prong collar, e-collar, stuff like that, corrective training tools. And I think a lot of people, new people, are like hesitant on starting using tools, especially if their dog's doing really well. And I just want to kind of share my experience with my current service dog, something that I've kind of recently learned. And you should always be learning, whether you've been training for 50 years or 2 years. You should always be learning something new every day. I've been training dogs around 10 years. Elsa's my second service dog. She is 5.5 right now. And she's very different than my first service dog. Anyone who's trained multiple service dogs know that they are not the same. They go through, they might go through the same stages closely, but what works for one probably doesn't work for the other. So you learn a lot, and every dog's different, just like all of us are different. We all learn differently, our dogs learn a little differently. So you can't always apply the same method to every dog. Yes, eventually, using a good method, every dog's gonna learn, but I think it's better, in my personal opinion, to try to teach the dog you have in front of you to see what works best for them. So I hope everyone could take away something from this video. If you're new to my channel, you're not familiar, my channel is largely dedicated to service dogs, working dogs. If you don't have a service dog, you might still get some value out of this video, and I hope you do if you choose to watch. To continue watching, it is, like I said, a bit of a discussion video. I'm basically just going to be talking. Feel free to read the comments down below. Guys, if you have experience around this topic, share your own experiences down below. We're not slamming anyone. We want a good, healthy discussion. But I think we all learn from just healthy discussions, and that's for any subject. So that's why I like doing these videos. So if you have a constructive criticism or experience, or, no slamming, but share your experience. Let's have an open discussion about this. So I'm going to kind of share my experience. And so Elsa has been a really, really good dog. And I knew picking her breed, she is a Border Collie if you guys don't know, typically not good service dogs because of the breed, the herding breed. They're very, a little tentative, very noise sensitive. But how you should pick a breed and how I picked her as my breed is you should pick what fits your lifestyle and what can do your tasks. So for me, I needed a dog to be very persistent in her alerts. Border Collies are kind of known for being a little persistent, a little stubborn. And I like to hike, I like to get out, I like to be active. So I need a dog that can keep up with that. So that's why I picked a Border Collie. And I knew I was going to have to spend more time on like noise sensitivity, environment sensitivity, just because of the breed. So you gotta understand that when you pick your breed for your service dog, you gotta understand the pros and the cons. So you gotta pick for your lifestyle, your disability needs, and then you pick your proper temperament for service work. It's kind of how that goes. Kind of getting off subject here, but so something I've learned, I've always been like a balance trainer, and that seems to be a catch term right now. A lot of people saying, I'm a balance trainer, I'm a balance trainer. And I think basically on the basic level balance trainer, because everyone has kind of like their different definition for it, but it's basically you're not afraid to use corrective tools. And I'm not afraid to use corrective tools at all. Now for my dog, she's always been very responsive. I do believe in a firm, purely positive foundation before you start doing corrective. Corrective is to reinforce. It's not to teach. So old trainers would, teach sit by like pulling up on the leash and choking the dog out until they sat down, then they release pressure. So that's a pressure on, pressure off. I believe your dog should learn pressure on, pressure off. It should not be how you originally teach sit or whatever command you're trying to teach. That should not be the main way you teach your command, is pressure on, pressure off. They should understand that concept, and that's something that I've learned, is that they should understand what a correction is and how they should react to it. Because a lot of times for a sensitive dog, now if you have like a confident dog, this is really not going to apply to you, but a lot of times if you have a sensitive dog and you purely train that dog through its life, purely positive, never gets corrections, and you correct that dog will think it's dying because it has never received a correction. It doesn't know how to respond. It's like, what the heck? Oh my gosh, sometimes you'll see funny videos like the dog's like freaking out, or you could kind of see it in those videos. They're cute and all, but like when the trash can, right, is dumped over and there's a mess everywhere, or there's, the couch cushion is chewed or whatever, the dog doesn't really know it's done something wrong. It's just reacting to your temperament. So it knows you're mad, so it's going to shy away. That's how it's learned to deal with correction. And the correction is your tone. And something that Border Collies are kind of known for is really distance working. Not really leash work. They weren't really bred for that. They're bred for distance work. They go off of whistle commands, and they're very sensitive. And because of their original breed intention, they had to be very sound sensitive so that they can listen for that. And so that's something I had to deal with, because that's not necessarily a good thing for service work, because service dogs are around a lot of extra noise stimulus, and they need to ignore that and be okay with that. So that's something that I've learned, is you have to kind of teach your dog, and I started Elsa around maybe 4 years old, that you have to teach your dog that it's okay to get corrected, and this is how you respond. So you teach them the pressure on, pressure off, and I've taught that. Now I started prong collar with her, I think at 3, prong collar work, and I was just using it as a corrective tool. And it didn't really do anything. Like, okay, yeah, I corrected my dog, but it didn't really do anything. But when I stopped, took a step back when she was about 4, and really taught her what the prong collar meant and what pressure on, pressure off is, she became less sensitive, because she would kind of like cower like this. And it's not because I beat her, because you shouldn't beat your dog, and I don't beat my dog, but she was so sensitive to corrections because she didn't know how to react to them. And because of her breed, that was kind of just the quick thing to do, is they just, whoop, what? Sorry, I had to delete some stuff off my camera. I guess everything's dying and filling up memory space on all my stuff. So I'll try to wrap this up really quick. Can't remember where I was at. But yeah, so I've noticed when I actually took a step back, give me the stick, stinker, and taught her what it meant when she got corrected, as opposed of just correcting her and hoping she'd figure out why I corrected her. if I actually sat down, slowed down, so the only thing I was doing was working on teaching her what correction was. A little correction when we stopped walking meant sit. And I didn't like beat my dog, alright? You should not beat your dog so that they would get tough and be okay with getting corrections or whatever like that. No, you give little corrections and then they sit and then you treat them. It's like, yes, that's good, that's what I want. That's how I want you to react to it. So if she's looking at something, I'd give a little correction. And then when she looked at me, I give her a reward. Yes, I want you to look at me if I correct you when you're looking at something else. So I'm basically teaching her another way of communication in a way. And when I did that, something pretty amazing happened. And I'm not saying this is gonna work for every dog. This is what worked for my dog. And that's what I'm sharing. Is once I taught her what it meant, her confidence went through the roof. And she like actually understood now what I was asking with the prong collar. Versus before, yes, I put it on, I corrected, you know, how you would normally correct a dog with it, and I can't reach it. And she would, you know, she'd take the correction. She was fine, you know, she wouldn't cower. Like, I'm not saying my dog's super soft. She wouldn't cower or shut down or anything like that, but she didn't quite understand. So when I took the time and I stepped back and I actually taught her what it meant, she like grew. Her confidence grew, and that's something I knew I needed to work on as the breed I have. She needs a lot of confidence. That's something, and a lot of breeds are like that. A lot of dogs are like that. If you have a shelter dog, if you have a dog that you turned into a service dog, you didn't originally get it for service work. Service dogs need a lot of confidence, like a ton. So when I saw her confidence go up, I'm like, okay, I'm doing something. I kind of discovered something here. So, and maybe I'm not the first one to discover it, whatever, but something that I've learned that I want to share is tools are not bad, and you do have to teach your dog how to use those tools. Alright, so I had to clear more memory off my card, so I really got to wrap this up. I'll probably have to do an expansion video on this later, because running out of memory, and also my dog's kind of alerting to me. So, real quick, last point, the environment your dog is in, especially for service dogs. Like I said, this channel is mainly geared towards service dogs, so that's why we're talking about service dogs. Your environment that your dog is in, especially for service dogs, can be very corrective to them. Alright, hear me out. When a loud noise happens, when someone comes over to pet your dog, especially a little kid comes over and like grabs your dog's tail, that's like corrective to them. So if they've never received a correction in their life, they might not take that very well. Now, service dogs should take that very well. They should not care. And you can do positive desensitization to loud noises, dropped objects, maybe something that dropped and hit them, or a kid came over and smacked them on the butt because they do that, or pull their tail, pull their ears. You can totally do desensitization, positive desensitization to that, and you should. But it takes very, very long time to do desensitization if you've ever done it. It takes forever, and everything you do helps your dog in that situation, because all dogs have a threshold. So you can almost only go so far with that. So trying to stay on topic here, for correction, teaching your dog to take correction, to understand what the correction is, can help them better understand corrections in their environment and be more okay with them. And then you could kind of cancel out that correction in a way, because sometimes the environment corrects your dog when you don't want it to correct your dog. But your dog did receive the correction, you have to deal with that, you have to move forward with that. So that's when you would kick in more your desensitization, a little tongue-tied, to say, hey, you know, that loud bang, that's fine, don't worry about that, you know. But essentially, they just received a correction. You're just telling them, you could ignore that one. That one's not that bad, right? But if they're used to receiving correction, so they just looked at you, right? Maybe instead of going, oh shoot, you know, I got a correction, what's going on, right? If they're used to receiving corrections, they might be, I'm not saying, you know, there's always exceptions for every rule, but they might be more like, oh, okay, what was that? Mom, what do I do? Dad, what do I do? You're like, oh, no, ignore that. They're like, oh, okay. You know, because sometimes, it shouldn't happen that often, but sometimes we correct our dogs when we shouldn't correct our dogs. So you kind of like go about it the same way. Just kind of ignore it. Maybe give them a little bit of reassurance that, okay, sorry, didn't mean to correct you there. It's a lot easier when you miss like a click. When you're doing clicker training, sometimes we accidentally click when they didn't do anything, and well, you should give them a treat because you clicked. So give them correction, or something in their environment gave them correction. You should say, okay, you got this correction, you're laying down, okay, that's good. Or you're ignoring it, you looked at me, okay, good, let's move on, right? Let's not dwell on it. Let's not freak out because something in our environment corrected us. So anyway, I'm gonna have to cut it there before I run out of film. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a comment down below, like this video if you liked it, and hit subscribe for more service dog content. Thanks for watching. Bye!